Representative Lindsay Sabadosa, and I am here today in Franklin County in Greenfield with Representative Paul Mark. And we are here to talk about the new train service that's going to be starting between Greenfield and Springfield and continuing down on to New Haven. So, Rep. Mark, you were instrumental in starting this service. Tell us a little bit about the history.
Yeah, and thank you for being here in the 2nd Berkshire District. Thank you for taking the time to be informative about this new project. In early 2012, I believe it was, as part of the stimulus, there was an upgrade to service along the entire corridor. At the time, we were calling it the Knowledge Corridor, and the idea was to restore the Vermonter service that had been either discontinued or limited for quite a while. And so all the train tracks were reestablished and upgraded and over the years, and the service started. And I remember riding on the first run of that train, and I've taken it myself down to Philadelphia, that kind of thing. Not on the first day, but at times. And then in 2014, the local delegation at the time, and it was led by Peter Kokart, your predecessor.
Yes.
He filed an amendment to a transportation bond bill in 2014, and we were able to secure, I believe it was $40 million for this train service. And the idea at the time was the $40 million would go to purchase commuter rail trains that already were part of the MBTA system and would be rehabbed and refurbished and brought out for use in this area to go back and forth north-south along that Vermonter service on a more regular basis. Over the last couple of years, Governor Baker was elected. He did commit to spending the money and making sure the service would be implemented. And the way it ended up coming to fruition was not exactly the way we thought. I guess there's some kind of a deal with Connecticut where we're borrowing back and forth trains and funding and that kind of thing. But regardless, the train service now finally, 5 years later, is about to start at least twice daily, I believe, going from Greenfield and to Springfield, and so allowing people the opportunity to travel back and forth on the same day for the first time, which is really exciting.
It is. It's really exciting. I know so many people in Northampton are really looking forward to being able to get to New York and back in the same day, which has been impossible. And of course, people from New York can come up to the valley as well. One of my favorite parts about this project is that it includes all of the major cities along the Connecticut River Valley, which is not, it doesn't feel like we've always worked together in the way that we need to. So I'm really excited about this Greenfield, Northampton, Holyoke, Springfield collaboration. Did you see that as this project was starting to unfold?
Yeah, there was a lot of collaboration. It was like we worked with one voice on this project over the last couple of years. And yeah, it's been great. Again, Representative Kokart at the time, Senator Stan Rosenberg, yourself since you came into office, Representative Vega and Senator Humison down in the Holyoke area, and then so many of the members of the Springfield delegation. Yeah, have all been really, really instrumental in working together and trying to make this project move forward. There's been times when it seemed like there would be delays or maybe it would never get off the ground, and everyone's pulled together. And I think Congressman McGovern and Congressman Neal as well. And some of the original money for the service that upgraded the tracks actually came from Congressman Olver, and we're sending in the John Olver Transit Center, so it wouldn't be right to not mention his efforts as well.
Well, thank you. So we're going to get on the train now?
Awesome.
So one of the things that I think is also really exciting about this project is the amount of economic benefits that the region could see. I know people in Northampton are very excited that they're going to be able to take the train to New York and back in a day. People from New York are going to be able to come up. I know a lot about what's going on in Northampton, new theater, restaurants, exciting art shows. We have the Center for the Arts on 33 Holly now that's just fabulous and a real jewel in the community. What kind of things are people going to want to come to Greenfield to see?
Yeah, in Greenfield, there's a vibrant downtown, there's a vibrant and growing arts community. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of open space, there's rivers, there's access from Greenfield where you can start to explore the rest of Franklin County, go down to Hampshire if you want, go west into Berkshire. It's wonderful. But yeah, there's in Franklin County, there's Berkshire East, up in Bernerson, there's Kringle Candle. I mean, there's so many great things to see. And so the opportunity now exists for, first of all, for us to attract new people to our region. So someone in New York, Philadelphia, Washington, in theory, they can be taking a train, they can make a stop here, spend a couple of days here, check things out and go back. Maybe it's family or friends, maybe it's work opportunities. And then in the other direction, it hopefully will encourage people that have been thinking about moving to a beautiful area like this where it's more affordable, again, open space, clean, quiet. maybe this gives you an opportunity for some remote commuting to a different area, and ultimately, as this project and other projects unfold, hopefully we'll be connected at some point to the entire rail network and the entire transportation network. And I mean, one of the things that's hurt in Franklin County specifically, and we've been seeing kind of a decrease in population, it has been lack of access to transportation, lack of access to infrastructure like broadband. And so over the last 9 years, we've been seeing a lot of improvement, a lot of getting to where we need to be. And I think while 8 years ago people were saying to me, we need broadband, we need train service, I think in 10 years people are going to be saying to me, we can't afford houses anymore because there's been so much growth and so much attraction.
Vega and Pat Beaudry from the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission to participate in this conversation. Rep. Vega, can you talk to us a little bit about what this new train service is going to mean for Holyoke?
Well, I think it really means our ability to leverage so much what's going on economically. Our train station is right in the middle of two neighborhoods. It's right along Race Street where we have Gateway City Arts and we have the Oregon and we have all this economic development already happening. So to be able to connect, specifically Northampton and Holyoke, even just be able to come to each other's events and be able to take the train to go out to dinner and come back and not have to worry about parking or 91 traffic or any of that kind of stuff that might happen. People say, well, would you really take a train 5 miles? And I say, listen, let's talk about New York for a second, right? 13 miles by 5 miles, and people take trains 2 miles, 1 mile, 8 miles every day. That entire city works because of a train system, a subway system. We need to think about that regionally and connect Northampton, Holyoke, all the way to Greenfield. And I'd love to see us connect up to Vermont as well at some point, but to be able to share those events and those economic opportunities of jobs and housing.
Right, it's really going to be exciting. And we were talking before about how this has been kind of fabulous for this Connecticut River Valley cooperation among the reps and the senators. And has that been your experience too?
Absolutely. I think Western Mass, we always stick together. I think that we're seeing that in order for our communities to really complement each other, we've got to have connections. And it's not just, interfaith connections and it's not just interpersonal connections, but transportation and work connections are really what brings communities together. And we can't think of things just as this is Holyoke and this is Northampton, here's Greenfield and here's Amber. They've got to be interconnected. We already know they are through the school system, through the higher education. Obviously, many teachers live in Holyoke and work at UMass and vice versa. So those are already happening. The train, I think, is like the glue now that's going to make that solidified and just a lot easier to have happen.
And so, Pat, can you talk to us a little bit about what this train is going to look like? We're calling it the Valley Flyer. There's going to be 2 more trains a day in addition to the Vermonter. What should we expect?
Yeah, well, so our friends to the south in Connecticut have really invested a lot of money in their rail system and worked with Amtrak to develop a really robust service between Hartford and Springfield down to New Haven, connecting to the Metro North system into New York City. And so we are really now working to kind of pull that service further up valley and make sure that not only Springfield, but Northampton, Holyoke, and Greenfield have access to these big markets right now. And, we have a few tasks ahead of us now. So obviously, because of your advocacy and Senator Comerford and Senator Lester in particular, we now have a little bit of a marketing budget. We want to get the word out. That means MassDOT's got to let us know when this service is going to be launched. This is reality TV.
This is reality, yes.
Well mentioned. I like
But so once we find out when it's ready to launch, we can really go about informing the public about what's happening. And ridership takes a little bit of time to build up. So we want to make sure it's a good schedule, and we're going to work with Amtrak and MassDOT to make sure that's right. The folks in Connecticut have a little bit of an advantage because Connecticut state government actually subsidizes the Amtrak fares that can be a little bit higher. So we're working on that at the state level as well, and making sure that it's kind of equitable pricing. We're not driving people to drive just to Springfield where they can be getting on their own places. What we really want this to do is build out a further transit kind of minded approach to getting from point A to point B. We want you to take the FRTA or the PVTA to Union Station, to the platforms, and really forego the car keys. So,
or Valley Bike.
Or Valley Bike as well. There's a station outside of, I believe, both Northampton and Holyoke and Springfield, and this last mile service is kind of a really cool new feature. So that's a big piece of what we're working on right now. If you look in total, we have almost 750,000 people in the 3 counties of the valley, and those folks move often very freely until they hit these points. And the fact is, they're going to work and they're going to school in places that are congestion points.
Yep.
And so,
like all of us.
Yeah, exactly. You all going to Boston, folks going to New York City, and I think, to Rev Vega's point, because I hail from Holyoke, I envision a model in which there are folks who get priced out of Brooklyn who can't afford Crown Heights. They come up to Holyoke, find a nice urban space, and they still have clients in New York, and they can go down and meet clients and have meetings and get back the same day. And right now, that's not available on the once-a-day Vermonter. And so that's a huge new market we're opening for ridership. You think about the 5 colleges, their connectivity to New York City. It's a big deal, and I also think a lot about all the opportunities in Hartford with the insurance and financial services industry and all those jobs down there. So we want people to stay in the valley, we want them to visit the valley, but we want to give them options beyond the car keys and congestion on the roads.
Okay, Amtrak train 55, Canada Park, Holyoke Station. Good afternoon.
Thank you. So we are here in Holyoke now at the station, and Pat, you were here when it was announced they were going to open the station, right?
Yeah, so I was actually here in 2013 when I was working for State Senator Michael Knappich, who represented Holyoke. And this was just a giant brownfield at the time. You have the freight, scrap metal kind of creaking through, but at the time, all the passenger rail had been rerouted out to Palmer through Amherst, away from the population core of the valley. And so there was a really cool lineup of folks. Congressman Olver, who was a huge federal advocate for all this, the rerouting, the service coming back online. Lieutenant Governor Tim Murray at the time was also a big promoter of Western Massachusetts. And so what I didn't know then, my future boss, Tim Brennan, also spoke there as the executive director of the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission. At the time, the case that he made was essentially that we're seeing a huge consolidation of economic opportunity in metro areas. And folks like us in secondary markets really have 2 choices. We go isolationist route, and we hope that we can fend for ourselves, or we figure out ways to tap into the economic power of places like New York City and Boston. And so the case he made here was, folks, New York is filled with opportunity. We don't need to recreate New York to benefit from the opportunities they provide. And so it was a really big deal for them to have Holyoke have a platform. This is a low-income neighborhood, and oftentimes people would overlook investing well over $1 million in this. And yet they insisted that Holyoke had to stop for social equity reasons. And I think it's going to end up paying off big time. We're seeing developments already, as Rep. Vega mentioned. I think what we do best in the planning community is really set the table for others to kind of take those positive assets and run with it in the private sector. And so we're really excited what we're seeing down here right now.
And so this train service, though, is a pilot program. So we're getting 2 additional trains each day, 2 going from Greenfield down to Springfield, and then 2 coming back up in addition to the Vermonter. So
Right.
6 round trips, or 3 round trips rather, 6 trains. But it's a pilot. So what does that mean exactly, and what do we need to do as a delegation to make sure it's successful?
Well, it means it's going to be a test run, and so if people want it to last, they got to get out and ride it and make sure they take advantage of it. I mean, as a delegation, what we're going to do is continue to work together and continue to make sure that the funding on the state level is proper, and advocate to Amtrak, advocate to our governor and our governor's MassDOT officials. But as the population, as people watching this video, if you think this is a good idea, you've got to take advantage of it, because if we don't get, I think the number is 24,000 riders, then it's not going to continue. And so we've been making a case for this for a long time. Let's get out there and prove that we were telling the truth.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I think that there's a rich history of train service and public transportation in this area. But this whole country, and definitely this area in Western Mass, having a car is essential. You have to. And we're trying to create opportunities where maybe you don't use your car every day, and maybe there's a way to look at that schedule during this pilot program to figure out, maybe there needs to be a later train if we're really going to talk about people coming either to Holyoke for an event at Gateway City Arts or something going on, because if they're going to take the train in, there's going to be something late at night, 10 or 11 o'clock, to get them back to Northampton.
An Enchanted Theater production.
Yes. Or if we're talking about, I just went up to the Green River Fest.
Right.
So imagine being able to take the train to Green River Fest, you get off and there's the bus is there to pick you up to go right to the festival, right? So I don't even drive at all.
Yeah.
I mean, public safety issues obviously addressed there, congestion issues, environmental issues. I mean, that would be great. So
And
I could
reverse too, from Greenfield down to the Dream Picnic at Gateway
Exactly.
City Arts.
Right.
But that's
Or the
what I'm
Academy
saying.
of Music.
Yeah, Academy of Music.
Absolutely.
I mean, going to Hampton for the day without having to deal with the
Yeah.
parking would be great, right? I
Right.
mean, that's almost one of the first things we think about. Let's go to Northampton. Parking. Right? but I think it's just we got to get that around people. Like it's part of your night out.
Yes.
Take the train down, right? Enjoy the drive down. Have someone else do the drive for you. You can have
Yeah.
that extra drink because you don't have to drive home.
Right.
It's a win-win.
Still be smart.
Yeah.
Still be smart.
And
Right.
I think another piece of the puzzle here that we see with the PVTA is as you increase service, ridership increases exponentially.
Yep.
And right now we have a lot of transit-dependent people in the PVTA system, and so
Yes.
they kind of have to take what they can get until they're pushed to that edge where they decide to leave that job that they use transit for, or they buy that $500 ancient Honda Civic that's maybe not safe and definitely not good on emissions. And so
Right.
I think, the more that we increase ridership, the more people opt into it. They know that those options are there and that they can take it, and it's got to be reliable. And again, to the subsidy piece, it's got to be affordable, but
Right.
we got to make sure we get that schedule right. We got to get the public information out. And we do have to come up with fun ways to kind of promote it and use cultural events as a way to kind of raise that awareness.
Right. And so as of today, we still can't make reservations on the train, but we are expecting the service to begin on Friday, August 30th. So in just 2 weeks, we'll have more train service moving up and down the valley, and I know I'll certainly be on it.
Sure, I'll go to the casino.
I will not go to the casino, however,
Just for the free booze.
but maybe Gateway City.
but that's that. I mean, tourism is one of our biggest industries in Western Mass.
Right.
If we want people to come here, they've got to be able to get around.
Right, exactly. All right, well, thank you, everybody, for getting on the train with us today
Absolutely.
and for helping to promote the Valley Flyer. And we hope that everybody who's watching this video will get on the train too, so this pilot can be successful. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you.
Thanks.